Welcome back to First Voice here on 90.5 FM. And on the line, we have Kelly Mitchell, who is a local Greenpeace activist. Kelly, can you hear us?
Good, how are you?
Doing really well. Thank you for joining us. So, if you could do me a favor, just introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing.
Yeah, so my name's Kelly Mitchell. I live here in Chicago, and I'm currently a couple hundred feet up on the Fisk Coal Plant in Pilsen, and basically we're out here to send a message that Midwest Generation, their parent company, Edison International, needs to shut this plant down and start to care about the health of the community in this area. It's a clear day. You see the lake, you see downtown, you see all the communities. And I mean, actually, one of the things that has really struck me being up here is that when you do look around from this plant, you just see home after home and business after business, and you start to get a sense of how many people live right next to this thing. And, you know, it's one thing to read about it, and it's definitely another thing to see it firsthand up here.
Kelly Mitchell, personally, what are your demands right now?
Well, right now we're calling on Edison International and their subsidiary Midwest Generation to close the Fisk and Crawford plants. We don't need the power for Chicago. They're making people in this area sick, and it's really about time that these things just shut down.
What are some of the activities you guys are doing from up there? We've been seeing since dawn you guys have been hanging up a sign after sign. What are some of the conversations taking place amongst you and your crew?
Yeah, we've had a couple signs up around the stack. Now we actually have people rappelling down the side of the stack, and they're painting a message on the stack itself that we're sending to both the company and to the government of Chicago. And I mean, it's been interesting conversations. This is a pretty unique experience, and I mean, for the most part, people are working, they're checking their safety, they're getting their equipment ready. But when we do have those moments to pause and reflect, you know, we do feel very lucky to have this opportunity to take bold action against this company.
So Kelly, if we can just backtrack a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved, and maybe how it came to the point where you're scaling, you know, one of the biggest coal plants in the country?
Yeah, so I started working on kind of climate activism about 5 years ago as a grassroots organizer, and I spent many years working all around the country and doing really, you know, basic stuff like petitioning and rallies and lobbying and really pushing members of Congress to take a stand against the coal and oil industry and to pass good climate policy. And it was really disappointing that, you know, after years of effort and watching just so many people put so much of, you know, their personal time into that fight, that the government basically failed to live up to its responsibility to protect the people. And that made me just want to take on the coal industry more directly. And it was around that time that I came out here to Chicago, and I started to learn about, you know, the work that was happening in Pilsen and Little Village around the Fisk and Crawford plant. And it's just exciting to think of, you know, community activists who are just taking this upon themselves and fighting the bad guys in their backyard. And after working out here for a little bit and, again, seeing all the amazing work that was happening in Chicago, it led me to the place I'm here now.
So it sounds like there's a deep disillusion within you in the whole political process, and it sounds like you've obviously decided to take a very direct democratic approach to this problem here of the coal power plants. How long are you guys planning on staying up there, and what is the issue of food, water, and your overall safety up there?
It's still a little unclear how long we're going to stay up here. You know, we definitely have more painting to do, and we want to make sure that the message is heard by the company. Just in terms of safety and provisions, we brought plenty of water and food and warm weather gear, and we have all of our safety equipment here. So I feel pretty good about sticking up here for a while if we have to.
Hi, Kelly. It's Sarah here. I have a question. Has there been any contact or communication between you and the company itself, or any type of enforcement or law enforcement?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know some members of my team have been in contact with law enforcement and the company. I personally have not been part of those conversations, so I can't say, you know, exactly what's transpired. But We have been in contact. The company has not yet agreed to shut down the plants, if anyone's wondering that. But we are in touch with people on the ground.
How far are you willing to go through to get the company to shut the plant down?
That's a good question. If you asked me a year ago, I don't know if I would have said I'd be up on top of a smokestack. I think the length I'm willing to go is, I think, just maintaining the persistence and dedication to see this fight out to the end. I mean, I do think being able to do something like this it does make a strong statement, and, I think it has been a really powerful act for me, but at the end of the day, what's actually going to win this fight is long-term grassroots action. So I guess I'm willing to stick it out, and that's as far as I'll go.
Yeah, we just got a breaking report that activists have taken over the bridge. They're as of yet unconfirmed, but First Voice will be there right after the show. I guess if you could give us, the human depiction of who you activists are up there, your walks of life, your backgrounds yourself, and your peers.
Yeah. I mean, I think we have a pretty diverse crew up here, and people with some pretty varied life experiences. For me, I like to think a fairly normal kid who, grew up really active in my church and later went on to pursue environmental activism after college. We have a lot of people who followed a similar path and who for the last couple of years, through one form or another, some people working through the democratic process, some people through direct action, have been doing what they can to stand up to injustices in the world.
What is your message to the community? What can the community do to support you guys? And in turn, what is your ultimate message to the community and your message to the Fisk and coal power plants here in Chicago?
I think my first message to the community is just thank you, and thank you for getting this fight off the ground and having the kind of courage and persistence to maintain it after so many years. And I hope, especially after today and other events that have happened here, people in the community realize that a lot of people around the country are paying attention to what's happening in Chicago and are willing to stand by them and fight alongside of them to have clean air, to have healthy communities. So I guess just keep up the amazing work, and me and other Greenpeace activists are going to be right there alongside you. And my message to the company is that you've got to realize you can't put your profits above everything forever, that if you're going to operate in a community for as long as you have to take responsibility for the public health crisis you've created. And this plant is so old and dirty, it's just time to go.
Kelly Mitchell, one last thing. Have you called your parents yet, and did you want to send out a shout-out to friends, family, people that might be listening?
I haven't talked to my family yet. Yes, if anyone out there is related to me or cares for me, know that I'm safe and I'm happy, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone when this is done.
Kelly Mitchell, thank you so much. Kelly Mitchell is almost 500 feet up in the air in the chimney of the Fisk Coal Power Plant here in Chicago. Kelly Mitchell, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.